Alright, let's get it. Okay. That was a lot of damage, by the way. That was 100 damage with one Eldritch Blast? Oh, we back, baby. Alright, let's do one here, and then the rest of the two here. Did I just critically miss? Damn, that's all good. We still got Mo. One here, two here. Come on. Come on. One here, two here. We keep it going. Action Surge, you know what it is. One here, two here, yup. Come on. We're trying to get those crits. Alright, we still got bonus actions, right? Let me do another one. Let me just do another one, you know what I'm saying? Can I aim from one of these? Yeah, we're trying to get them crits. Okay, we could do another one. Alright, we back! Eldritch Blast is fine! Eldritch Blast is fine, bro. I think that's it, right? Alright, so we had 4 actions and 2 bonus actions. I am hasted and I am using the Elixir of Bloodlust, but those are very easy things to accomplish. We killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 targets, and if we crit one more time, we would have killed 7. I'd say that's still pretty damn good for an Eldritch Blaster. In fact, actually, I don't think it's as strong as the last one, but it's still fucking good, as y'all can see. Alright, y'all. First of all, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. AoE back at you again with another Baldur's Gate 3 video build guide. Now, I've been seeing, you know, since the most recent patch, that the previous Lightning Eldritch Blaster wasn't hitting as hard, alright? And, honestly, before that patch, and I said it during that video, it's a little inconsistent. You know what I mean? So, I decided to do a little bit more research, do a little bit more testing, and I found, as you just saw, a pretty damn good Eldritch Blaster. Is it as strong as the previous one? You know, I think it's a little weaker, actually. Just by raw damage numbers, I think it's a little weaker, but still being able to do 100 damage per Eldritch Blasts while having a lot of actions, while having a lot of bonus actions, it still slaps. Alright? This build, you'll be able to 100 damage on average per Eldritch Blast, as you just saw. That's what I was doing. Okay? So this is how we're going to do it, just like my other video build guides. We're going to go through the level progression. We're going through the items. Alright, we're going to go through the consumables / buffs that I would use for the build. And then that's going to be it. So, without further ado, I present to y'all the Master Blaster. Alright, so first of all, real quick, how you're going to level with this build is you're just going to be a Fire Sorcerer. It's just the best way to play throughout the game. Just level up as a Fire Sorcerer until you get to around level 10-ish, and then respec and follow this build path. Alright? Alright, here we go. First level, Fighter. 2 reasons. 1, we get proficiency in everything, so we never have to worry about not being proficient with armor or weapons or shields, because sometimes if you want to wear something, you won't be able to cast spells because you're not proficient in it. That's how it works in the game, okay? So we want to make sure we're proficient in everything, so we ain't got to worry about shit. Second reason, and might be the more important reason, we need Constitution saving throw proficiency, because you're probably going to be casting haste on yourself, okay, or concentrating on some type of spell, and having a decently high Constitution is pretty important for that. Alright, so there you go. First level Fighter. get defense for that +1 AC. It really is the best option out of all of these. You know, there is really no other choice here. Boom, +1 AC. And for the abilities, you want that 17 charisma. Normally in all my playthroughs, I normally give the hag hair to the charisma character because it just makes the most sense. You know, you could do a lot with charisma. You can get past a lot of dialogue checks, and you can do a lot of damage with that character. So I like to give the hag hair to my charisma character. So that's why I got it at 17. And actually, I put the dexterity at 16 higher than the constitution. And the reason why, there's one main reason why. It's for the initiative, okay? 16 dexterity equals +3 initiative. And being able to go first, with +3 initiative, you'll be able to go first out of most things in this game. You know, with the exception of a few encounters or bosses here and there, for 90% of the things with 16 dexterity, you can go first most of the time. And it's really important that you go first because as a fire sorcerer, respeccing into an Eldritch Blaster, you want to kill things before they get a turn. And this build, or any spellcaster, can definitely do that. Alright? So we want that 16 dex for that plus 3 initiative, and of course for the AC bonus as well. And of course, having a 14 constitution is fine. Because we're a ranged character. We're ranged. We're trying to stay the fuck away from damage. We're not going to get hit most of the time. So having a 14 constitution is totally fine with this build. You can be a little squishy. Why not? At level 2, we're sticking with fighter for that super sweet action surge. The concept for this build was, one, to boost the Eldritch Blast damage through items and through, you know, class abilities and passives. And the second concept, you know, was to have as many actions and bonus actions as possible. And of course, fighter having action surge. I mean, you guys have seen my builds. A lot of my builds have fighter in it because getting 2 levels to dipping into fighter to get 2 levels is very small price to get another action, right? And you know, a game like this is an action economy game. The more actions, the more bonus actions you got, the better. All right. At level 3, we are sticking with fighter for 1 more level, actually, and we are going to use the subclass champion. Why? Because we get improved critical hit. So, we're replacing lightning charges because they got nerfed to the ground, pretty much. I did the testing, trust me. Lightning charges are still good, but it's like, it's such a shell of what it once used to be. Alright? And you'd know if you've tested it as well after the patch. So, basically, we're just replacing lightning charges with crit. Okay? We're turning our lightning Eldritch Blast into a critical Eldritch Blast. Pretty simple change. So we're trying to stack as much of this improved critical hit passive through the champion subclass, and through other items that I'm going to show you. And of course, this effect can stack, making it pretty easy to land crits, especially if you have advantage. And with this build, we're going to have advantage with every single Eldritch Blast attack. At level 4, we are going into a dip into rogue. We're going to be a rogue for a little bit here. Okay, you probably know where this is going. But we're going to pick level 1 rogue. And as far as the abilities go, it doesn't really matter. I just put expertise on acrobatics because I don't want to get knocked prone. You know, you either make an athletics or acrobatics check when people kind of shove you, you know what I'm saying? So having a high acrobatics helps in that. And because our dex is pretty decently high, that's good too. And of course, being knocked prone is another way of losing your concentration on stuff like haste, and we don't want that. Okay. And as far as other skills go, I just went with the other charisma stuff. The thing is, I already have a bard in my party with high charisma, so this is pretty useless. But I didn't really want to get anything else, so it's up to you. Whatever you want. Abilities don't really matter. We're pretty much here for rogue for a little bit to pick up something later that you're probably going to see. At level 5, we're going to be a rogue again, and we get these pretty sweet bonus actions: cunning action hide, cunning action dash, cunning action disengage. So these are normally an action for most characters, but because we're a rogue, these are now turned into a bonus action, which is actually pretty useful. Most of the time I'm dashing. At level 6, we're taking our last level into rogue. And why? Man, y'all know why. Fast hands. Gain an additional bonus action. Alright? Level 2 fighter and level 3 rogue, you're probably going to see that in a lot of my builds, because it's hard to pass up extra actions and extra bonus actions. If your class has 2 fighter and 3 rogue, with an extra action and bonus action, they're going to be useful in some sort of way. Even if they're a healer, even if they're a control support character, they can do more in battle. And that's what it is. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So we get the level 2 fighter action surge. We get the level 3 rogue thief fast hands. And now we can already cast... What is it? Now we can cast about 4 Eldritch Blasts. Actually, we can't yet because we don't have any sorcerer levels. But we will in the future. Like I said, for the first 9 levels, level as a sorcerer, then respec at level 10 to what I'm doing now. Alright? But of course, level 3 rogue, thief subclass, fast hands, baby. At level 7, we are finally taking a dip into our main class. I call it our main class because we get our main damage spell. This is the class we get the least levels in, but it's our main class in my opinion because we get Eldritch Blast. Alright? You go to your cantrips, you know what I'm saying? Eldritch Blast, and then you pick whatever you want. I like getting friends. Friends helps in charisma dialogues, and there's a million charisma dialogues in this game, so friends is top tier. And of course, Eldritch Blast is our main damage dealer. As far as a subclass goes, there's only one subclass that I really want here, okay? And it's Mortal Reminder. When you land a crit against a creature, that creature and any nearby creatures must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened. And because our charisma is so high, that wisdom saving throw is pretty high, so they're probably going to be frightened. And frightened means they can't move, and they also have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. It's really good. So you basically do an AoE frighten every time you crit, and because we're focusing on crit, you can low-key control a battlefield by frightening all the monsters. You know what I'm saying? With the amount of action economy that we have, we can do a lot of that. All right. The Fiend is a decent option too if you want some temporary hit points, but you know. The much more offensive option is Great Old One, and I like to go with the good old strat. A good defense is a powerful offense, and I'm all about that glass cannon offensive shit. So I like getting Great Old One. And as far as the spells go, again, these don't really matter. Just pick whatever you want. I like to pick the trifecta of Warlock spells, which is Hex, Hellish Rebuke, and Arbor of Agathis, but most of the time, at most, I'm casting Hex, and at most, we don't really use our spell slots anyway because we're going to be Eldritch Blasting everything and anything, you know what I'm saying? At level 8, we are taking our last level into Warlock to get a very important thing, which is not the spell. Again, I just want to make sure I have Armor of Agathis, Hex, and Hellish Rebuke, just in case I need to use one of those things. Most likely not, but just in case, okay? But of course, the most important thing is Agonizing Blast. When you cast Eldritch Blast, add your Charisma fighter to the damage it deals, unless it is negative. You can get Charisma up to 24. Someone said 26, but that's crazy. So you can get it to 24 pretty easily. All you need is the hag hair, a helmet that you get in Act 3, and the mirror that you talk to in Act 3. It's pretty easy. It's not too hard to get your Charisma to 24, and that's a +7 damage to your Eldritch Blast on top of the 1d10 that you're rolling. And this, of course, stacks with a certain item that you probably know of, but just in case you don't, I'm going to show you all later. Alright? So Agonizing Blast, a very good damage dealer, and this applies to every single one of our Eldritch Blast. Crazy. And for the second Eldritch Invocation, Repelling Blast is always good, and of course, at level 10, you get 3 Eldritch Blasts. You know, it fires off 3 blasts, and if each of those hit, that 4.5 turns into 13.5, if my math is correct. Alright, so they really get pushed out of the fucking picture. Okay? You can definitely go with Devil Sight. You could definitely do that if you want, because Devil Sight, Darkness combo is classic. Okay? But you're probably going to want to be casting haste on yourself for the most part. So that's why I didn't pick Devil's Sight. But if that's what you want to do, you can do that. But for me, Repelling Blast was the better choice. At level 9, we are doing our last multi-class dip. And of course, we're going with Sorcerer because of the good old sorcery points. Now that we get some sorcery points, we can use those to start using our bonus actions to cast Eldritch Blast. And that's why you don't want to use Eldritch Blast until level 10. You want to wait. Just be a fire sorcerer for 9 levels. Trust me, it's good. It's solid. But at level 10, if you want to start Eldritch Blasting, bang. All right, this is like the viable level that you can do it. You can definitely Eldritch Blast earlier if you want, but it's a lot less effective than being a fire sorcerer. Okay. Also, some of the items that really activate this build, actually not. There's only 1 or 2 items, but still. I would recommend Eldritch Blasting until level 10. And that's why I told y'all with the first 9 levels, just be a Fire Sorcerer. Really for any spellcaster. You know what I'm saying? Fire Sorcerer just owns Act 1 and Act 2. And then in Act 3, things start being resistant, and that's when you switch it up. Alright? So, there's that. That's a little rant. But yeah, so we're doing Sorcerer. This is our last multi-class. As far as the cantrips, I just chose the elemental cantrips. These are useful. You could blow up stuff with Firebolt. You can turn off fire with Frost. You can create icy surfaces with Frost. And Shocking Grasp is good. Because there are some things that are weak to lightning in this game that are very important. I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just say you can Shocking Grasp is a very cheap way to get to a big bad dragon that you could fight later in the game. Okay, so it's really useful. And of course, light. I like to cast light on myself on the staff that I'm using, just cause there's no reason not to, right? As far as the spells. You want that shield. You want that shield. Okay? So now your level 1 spell slots are going to be used for shield and nothing else. You can use Hex. You can use Hex if you want, if it's a high HP target. But if you're dealing with 100 HP targets and lower, which is most of the things in this game, you don't want to waste Hex on it. Alright? You want to use Hex on like Raphael or some shit. Or the big-ass dragon that I just mentioned. But shield, definitely your level 1 spell slots for your reaction. And as far as the next spell that you want to choose here, it's up to you. I like choosing ritual spells. Ritual spells don't cost a spell slot. They're super useful. Enhanced Sleep is ritual. Disguise Self is ritual. Feather Fall is ritual. Very good spells, okay. Another good spell is Fog Cloud. But luckily, we go with the subclass Draconic Bloodline for that free mage armor right here. And we go with the Bronze Lightning to get that Fog Cloud. So now we have Fog Cloud, Enhanced Sleep, and Shield. 3 very, very good spells that are useful throughout the whole game. Fog Cloud, I'm going to make a video on how to pickpocket. I found a new way to pickpocket. It includes Fog Cloud, and it's super easy. I'm finishing my pretty much final playthrough on for this game, and my inventory looks like those level 6 scrolls that cost like 5,000 each. I have 20 of each of those scrolls plus like 100k in gold on one of my characters. And that's because I've been abusing the Fog Cloud or Darkness pickpocketing strategy. Again, that video is coming probably next week, so watch out for that, because I like to do an educational video on Wednesdays. Monday and Friday are the build videos. Wednesday are the educational. I'm pretty sure the next one I'm gonna show y'all is how to pickpocket effectively and become rich and never have to worry about anything. Okay, so anyway, we do that. Boom. I like the black color. Boom, and that's level 9. At level 10, ain't nothing too crazy here. We get some more. We get our sorcery points going on. I picked another ritual spell, but again, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, whatever your party needs, pick that. Feather Fall is a ritual spell, so I just picked it. It's a very good spell to have. And these meta magics, Twin Spell and Distance Spell, not really relevant. Not really relevant. Twin Spell is more relevant just because you can Twin Spell Haste. You can Twin Spell Haste, by the way. And I'd 100% recommend doing that if you can. Twin Spelling Haste on this crazy damage Eldritch Blaster and another damage dealer, you can win the fight in like less than 1 turn. So I recommend Twin Spelling Haste every fight if you can. It's very useful. And that's level 10 pretty much. The next level though is where we get our most important meta magic, and you probably know which way I'm going with that. Alright, so at level 11, going Sorcerer again. This is our last multi-class, like I said. We're staying here for the rest of the way. Going Sorcerer. For the spells, Misty Step. You gotta have it. You gotta have it. Nothing else is useful. We're going to be concentrating on Haste. And I'll tell you how to use Haste, because obviously we're not going to be a high enough Sorcerer to be able to use Haste, or to have it in our spell list. But there are haste scrolls in the game that you can definitely use, and you can do that instead. Okay, that's what I mean by doing that. Or you can use items, or your other party members can do it. There are a bunch of ways to get haste without having it in your spell list. All right, so don't worry about that. But yeah, you get that Misty Step, and of course, the most important meta magic, and the one you're probably going to be using for your sorcery points, if not all the time, is Quicken Spell. You can spend 3 sorcery points to use a bonus action and cast a spell. And what's that spell that we're going to cast as a bonus action? Eldritch Blast! Good job, guys. Okay. So yeah, that's level 11, and of course, the last level, we're sticking with Sorcerer, and we finally get our feat. Level 12, last level, Sorcerer. Here we go. Cantrips, doesn't matter. Bone Chill, just because you can have something not heal, but you're probably just be casting Eldritch Blast anyway. But just in case you need them to not heal, there it is. Spells, doesn't matter. Okay, you're going to be concentrating on haste most of the time. So I just chose another ritual spell for me. But for you, choose whatever you want, man. Again, we're going to be Eldritch Blasting 99.9% of the time, so it really doesn't matter. And as far as the feat, of course, we just want that +2 charisma. +2 charisma, because why not? Why not? And of course, if you get the hag hair, now you have 20 charisma. You put on the birthright, 22 charisma. Mirror loss, 24. Super easy. Super easy. All right, there you go. And that's the leveling progress. Now I'm going to show you all what items that I use, and I'm going to explain each item, why I use it, some alternatives. Boom, boom. All right, so I'm using my boy Gale. You know what I'm saying? I got Will, Gale, and my other main character, Dark Urge character, my main spellcasters on my 3 campaigns that I normally make builds on for you guys. I've played each and every one of those campaigns differently, so I get different items and different, character paths and origin characters. And I'm trying to make these videos, real. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, here are the items. Again, I'm gonna explain each item, why I use it, I guess where to get it, I don't fucking know, and then the item progression and what you would use earlier levels. Alright, so boom, we're gonna start with the hat, the birthright. You can get this immediately at Sorcerer Sundries in Act 3, the big town near the Lower City waypoint. Okay, it's in Lower City. And it's just the best hat. That +2 charisma means a +1 to your attack rolls, a +1 to your damage, a +1 to your spell DC. Charisma is just super useful, and the higher that charisma, the better. Okay. As far as what I would use before I was using this hat in Act 1, I believe I was using a Scorching Ray hat. Where the fuck is that bitch? I don't have it on this character, but there's a hat in the Myconid Colony. It's a Scorching Ray hat, and it comes with Scorching Ray. And Magic Missile and Scorching Ray, you can get those items really early on items. And having spells on items is really good early because you don't have spell slots to supplement that, right? So I was using a Scorching Ray helmet for a while, and then in Act 2, I found... bro, did I throw you my items? Oh, here we go. Then in Act 2, like I said, you're gonna level as a fire sorcerer, okay, for Act 1 and Act 2 until you get to Act 3. And now I was using this, which the hat of fire acuity. When you deal fire damage, you gain arcane acuity, and arcane acuity gives you a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls and spell DC per turn remaining. So at the least, when you first deal fire damage, this is a +2. Okay, and that's really, really good. And of course, because you're a fire sorcerer early, this is a very good helmet to level with. And I used this hat all the way up until I switched to Eldritch Blast and then used the birthright. Again, you can get it at Sorcerer Sundries. Y'all know where that is, okay? The Cloak of the Weave, I'm just using this for that +1 spell attack rolls. This is a crit build, so you can use Shade Slayer Cloak. The problem with Shade Slayer Cloak is it says while hiding, the number you need to roll a crit is reduced. So it has the crit sentence, but it says while hiding. Okay? This is not a very sneaky character. The dex is decent, and it takes too much effort, honestly, to hide in this game. We do enough damage anyway, so I just chose something more for the build. Okay? Cloak of the Weave for that +1 spell attack roll. And I guess you could use Cloak of Protection if you really wanted it. Because that +1 spell attack really isn't making much of a difference, because we're going to have advantage anyway. But you might need it. There are some targets with that 20 AC that are really hard to hit, and you're going to need that +1. So for me, I chose Cloak of the Weave. Before this, you could just use Cloak of Protection. Alright, you can use this throughout the whole damn game, really, for any type of build. This is a very good cloak, and if someone in your party is already using this, then you can use the Cloak of Displacement. They get disadvantage on attack rolls against you. There are a lot of good cloak options, but for me, the best was Cloak of the Weave for that +1 spell attack rolls. Next, boom, the chest, the Potent Robe. Y'all know what it is. Yes, you get this from rescuing the tieflings and keeping Alfira alive. Now I know I seen some of you Dark Urge players saying, I'm playing Dark Urge, I had to kill Alfira. Yes, but make sure you're saving before every long rest as a Dark Urge when you're in Act 1. When you're near the end of Act 1, okay, make sure you start saving before taking a long rest, because one of those cutscenes is going to be Alfira going into your camp and saying, oh, I want to sing you a song. The key is, once that happens, you load back into that save before that long rest. You walk up to Alfira's dumbass. You knock her out. How do you knock her out? Press K. No, you don't press K. You click down here, passives, knockout. Turn that on. You can turn it on for all your characters. They can get knocked out from a melee or an unarmed attack. So just beat up Alfira, okay, with a melee or an unarmed attack until she's knocked out, then take your long rest, and then a random-ass Dragonborn who knows how to Mongolian throat sing comes to your camp. I suggest you let her sing, or let them sing, because the Mongolian throat singing is quite amusing, to be honest. Okay. But you kill them instead. You kill them instead, and then you don't have to worry about Alfira being dead. That's the way that I do it. It's very, very easy, but then again, make sure you're saving before those long rests when you're in Act 1. I don't know exactly when that cutscene happens with Alfira when she joins your camp and starts being all fucking extra, but it definitely happens near the end of Act 1. Alright? Definitely before you leave the first area. Somewhere. Just before you leave. So just remember that if you're playing Dark Urge. But yeah, why do we use this? Why do we use this chest? Your cantrips deal additional damage equal to your charisma modifier. This stacks on top of agonizing blast, so this is another +7 for if you have 24 charisma to your Eldritch Blast. So now we have +14 to each and every single one of Eldritch Blast, and there's 3 blasts per attack. So that's already 14 times 3, 42. That's average, bro. Not even including the 1d10 that we're adding from the other Eldritch Blast. Okay? So boom, we're just stacking our damage again, just like the last time. But this time, instead of using lightning charges, we're using crit, and we'll go over the crit items later. So far, our only way of our critting is our level 3 fighter champion, but we have more ways to do that. So don't worry. Then the gloves, Spellmind gloves. I actually did not use these on my Eldritch Blaster, on my lightning one, because it was too much of a penalty, okay, and we weren't using the risky ring like we are now. But this is definitely the best gloves now to be able to keep up with the damage that it was doing before. And of course, this is just a great Weapon Master sharpshooter version for spellcasters. When you're casting a spell that requires an attack roll, you can take a -5 penalty to the roll and deal an additional 1d8 damage. And that 1d8 damage is depending on what kind of damage you're doing in the first place, which is force damage, so that's more force damage. And this also the same thing for Agonizing Blast and Potent Robe. So now we're doing a shit ton of force damage, and if I'm not mistaken, there are very few things in the game that are resistant to force damage. And of course, force damage can break down brick walls and doors, so force damage is very, very useful throughout the whole game. But these are clearly so far beyond the best gloves for this build, Spellmind gloves. And you can get this you can get this cloak, by the way, at Hellsick. Boom. In our secret inventory. You can get these gloves by collecting all the Dribbles the Clown pieces. Okay, I think there's 7 pieces? 7 or 8? One of those. I will not tell you where each fucking piece is. That is not the kind of video. Just Google it. You're going to Google this. Dribbles the Clown, Baldur's Gate 3. There you go. And then you get these gloves as a reward. The person to get the quest from and to get these gloves from when you're done with the quest is in the circus. She is wearing a robe. She has a staff. She's kind of tall. She looks like a nun. That lady. I don't know. I think her name starts with a L. I think it's Luscious or Lucretius. Something like that. You'll see her. in the circus. She will give you the quest, and she will give you these gloves. All right. As far as the boots, I've shown these boots so many times. These are just really good boots. It's a Misty Step that refreshes off of a short rest, and you can't be enwebbed, entangled, and snared, and can't slip on grease or ice. These are just really good boots, bro. Like they're very. This might be the best boots in the game, just because you get it super early, and nothing can really replace these. There's a Space Hunt boots that come with Dimension Door, but this requires this refreshes off of a long rest, so you can't even use this every battle. And Misty Step can be used for a bonus action, which is normally more preferred anyway when you're using a mobility skill. So I love these boots, and of course you can get these by either letting Nier die to the poison in the Underdark Grimforge, or killing Nier once they get out and saving the Iron Hand gnomes. And I would recommend you to save the Iron Hand gnomes from the Underdark, okay? Instead of letting Nier die from the poison. Most like so. Here's what I learned through many of my playthroughs. The general thumb is to keep as many NPCs alive as you can, because those NPCs might activate a quest, or might be a vendor later that sells really, really good shit. So you want to make sure you keep almost everyone alive if you're playing the good side. For the bad side, I guess you can just murder everyone, right? But that I'm letting y'all know that's a big tip, okay? So yeah, these boots, they are not interchangeable. The best boots for every build, pretty much. Let's go on to the amulet. So the amulet, we're using this is a crit build, so I wanted to stay with the theme. And of course, once we land a crit, we can you can paralyze a target for 2 turns, and paralyze, they can't move or take actions, and attacks against the enemy are always crits if we're within 3 meters. And again, it's very easy to crit with this build, along with the Illithid power. Boom, right here, which I don't even have on this character. That's crazy. What the fuck? So yeah, it's very easy to crit, so you can practice the amulet pretty much. The problem is it's on a short rest, it's on a long rest, so it can only really be done once. If you want a more consistent choice, this is a pretty squishy character, and we don't have Warcaster for an advantage on our Constitution saving throws for our concentration checks, so a more consistent option would be Amulet of Greater Health. The reason why I'm not using this is because I normally like to put this on my support character, because their concentration spells are more important to be concentrating on, okay? But also this character is away from damage. It normally never gets hit. Ranged characters like this one that do a shit ton of damage. So, but again, if you want to be safe, you could definitely wear this. And that means whenever you cast haste on yourself, which is probably going to be through a scroll or through one of your party members, you could probably count on concentrating on it, because you have advantage now. But for me, I like to stay with the theme, and obviously this kind of amulet, the Amulet of Greater Health, you can literally use for every single build in the game. It's kind of boring, right? Kind of like these boots. But so I'm sticking with the crit theme, and I'm going with the crit amulet. And of course, you can get this in Act 2 in the House of Healing, off of the Dr. Thorm boss there. And by the way, all the Thorm bosses in Act 2 in that shadow area, if you just bring a high charisma character, you can just talk your way out of everything in there, and they get pretty much the same amount of XP. So there you go. The ring, the risky ring. This makes it super easy to get advantage on all our Eldritch Blast attack rolls. Yes, you have disadvantage on saving throws, which kind of sucks, I know, but because this character, you can cast Eldritch Blast from pretty far. We're gonna be pretty far from taking damage anyway. So the bad thing about this ring normally doesn't happen, at least not for me. Okay, you want to make sure you're positioning your characters out of sight. There's something called LOS, line of sight. Make sure once you cast your Eldritch Blast, you go out of the way of their spellcasters or their archers, because they will definitely break your concentration if you're doing that haste type shit, or if they're just trying to cast a spell on you. Okay, so you gotta make sure you be aware of your positioning when wearing this ring. All right, but this is definitely the best ring. It gives you advantage on everything. All our Eldritch Blasts now have advantage, making it so much easier to crit, let alone hit. You know what I'm saying? And the second ring is the Callous Glow ring. So normally I like to pair this ring with the Coruscation ring. to get the guaranteed illumination. But I learned that most of the time in this game, the monsters are near a light source anyway. There's so many lights. The sun is also a light source, by the way. So they're most likely whatever you're hitting will probably near a light source and will be illuminated anyway. Or one of your team members is near them with light casted on them. There's so many ways to illuminate enemies, you know what I'm saying? And most of the time, they're probably illuminated anyway. So the Callous Glow Ring, like you saw earlier in the video, which deals radiant damage, by the way, it was pretty much always proccing. And of course, this is just an extra 2 damage on top of our other crazy parts of damage. But this isn't too much damage, though, to be honest. It's +2, so it's +6 per Eldritch attack roll, which is okay. But if you want a more debuff, then you can definitely use the Coruscation Ring. This will make the enemy useless, including bosses. Radiating Orb gives them a penalty on their attack rolls per remaining turn. Okay, and because Eldritch Blast hits 3 times, that's 6 turns, so that's -6 to their attack rolls. So you could turn someone like Raphael. Actually, Raphael's a spellcaster. You could turn someone like fucking Yerger, Raphael's little assistant. He'll never be able to land a hit because you're radiating orb him. So you can definitely use that instead. But for me, I want to stack as much damage as possible. So I got the Callous Glow Ring. You can get both of these rings. You can get the Risky Ring from one of the vendors. I think her name is Araj Oblodra in the Moonrise Act 2. Okay. If you want to know where any of these items are specifically, I have Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 guides on not every single item, but the best items. And all these items are definitely on that list. So if you want to know where any items are that I'm explaining, just look at one of those videos instead of this video. It's much more clearer. It's much more informative. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you can get this from the Balthazar. There is a vault with a 30 DC lock near Balthazar's little office. You go in there, it'll have this ring. Super good ring. Okay. All right, let's go on to the weapons. Okay, so as you've noticed, we're actually not using a staff. We're not using a staff. Last time we were using Marco Heshkir. Okay, we're using Marco Heshkir in combination with our lightning staff for lightning charges because that worked with our spellcasting modifier. But it doesn't do that anymore. So it doesn't add too much damage, right? So what does that mean? That means, well, it's not worth to do this anymore. So instead, we're just dual wielding some fucking swords and daggers. Because why not? Why not? And we can because we're first level fighters. So we can pretty much wear whatever we want. All right? For our main hand, these are all stat sticks. These don't do shit. They're just stat sticks. All right. Our main damage comes from our hands because we're Eldritch blasting. So look at these. All 3 of these are stat sticks, and of course, the Knife of the Undermounted King, probably the best stat stick in the game. The wielder scores a crit when rolling a 19. So now, whenever we roll an 18 or lower, we get a crit because of our champion fighter. So now it's 18. The number is 18. And when, of course, when we roll a 2 damage or less, we roll the dice, taking the highest result. So now not only do we have advantage on our attack rolls, we have advantage on our damage rolls. So we're going to be doing max damage pretty much all the time. It's crazy. Okay. The second stat stick is Rhapsody. I love this dagger. I think it's one of the best, if not the best one-hander in the game. Gain a +1 bonus to attack rolls, damage, and spell save DC for every foe you slay up to a maximum of 3. And this works on inanimate objects, by the way. You can equip this Rhapsody and hit 3 barrels, and it'll give you this bonus. So it's very easy to activate this buff. And having a +3 to your attack rolls, +3 to your damage, and a +3 to your spell save DC is crazy. It's crazy. As soon as I saw this weapon in my first playthrough, I knew this is one of the best items in the game. And it is. And it is. You can unequip this and keep this buff, but I think that's kind of cheesy, you know? You can probably use another dagger to help with the crit if you're maxing. But, you know, it seemed a little cheesy to me. But you can do that if you want. but I wanted to keep the weapon where it was. You know, pay some respect to the weapon. This is a really good weapon, man. A lot of builds aren't using this weapon, and I don't know why. It's super duper good. Okay, and definitely the best stat stick. So Rhapsody, boom. You can get the knife at the Kresh Yelek at the vendor. I think their name is Ajaknita Jira. See, the cool thing about making those Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 item videos was now I know the vendor names. I feel smart. Anyway, you can get the knife at the Kresh at the vendor there, and you get the Rhapsody doing the vampire Astarion story. You know what I mean? The main boss drops this weapon. And he also drops a staff that is very lackluster, but this dagger is definitely S tier, okay? And for our last item slot, the Deadshot. Yes, I'm definitely going to make a lot more builds with this bow. I forgot this bow existed until I was doing some research, and this is just stacking that crit. You know, now we need to roll a 17 or lower to crit. And of course, with the Rhapsody already having the buff, you can just change this out. Where is that item? Oh, you can also use the Sword of Life Stealing. I didn't even think of that. That sounds crazy, actually. Does that apply to the Eldritch Blast damage? I feel like that does. If that does, this is, and you're min-maxing, once you get the Rhapsody buff, change into this, because again it adds an extra 10 damage, and the one of the goals of this build is to stack damage on top of each other. So if it does crit, this would be a crazy item. But if it doesn't and only applies to the sword, then it wouldn't be best in slot. Otherwise, you could just use another item to lower your crit. And there's like other daggers that do that I can't find one. Here you go. So you can use this, which is Orin's weapon. So now with this setup, and let's assume you were hiding with the Shade Slayer cloak. So now we would need to roll a 15 or lower. All right, to roll a crit, and we have advantage in each and every single one of our attacks, and that's really freaking strong. Okay, but again, you got to be hiding for this, and I'm never hiding. I'm all offense. So I use Cloak of the Weave, and to not be too cheesy, I just stick with the Rhapsody. But those are definitely other options for more crit. So now but with this setup, we need to roll a 17 or lower, which is still pretty good. And those are the items. Okay. Oh, you can get this from the vendor outside of Sorcerer Sundries. There are two vendors outside. One of them sells the Armor of Agility. The other sells the Deadshot. And just figure out which one it is. All right. So now, I guess I should go over, what consumables to use, what buffs to use, and how to go crazy with it. Okay, so as far as the buffs go, first of all, the elixir you want to use is the Elixir of Bloodlust, alright? Now, if you wanted, you can definitely use the Elixir of Crit, which, do I have? You can definitely use these, which, again, stacks the crit even more, but I just feel like instead of critting for one less, I feel like having an extra action is just better. Because that means an extra Eldritch Blast, that means 3 more damage that we're doing, and assuming that crits, that's already better than Elixir of Viciousness. So I feel like on average, most of the time, Elixir of Bloodlust is just a better choice for most damage builds. But if you want to follow the crit thematic, the crit theme, you can just use this instead. Alright, but we're going to show Elixir of Bloodlust. You definitely want to be blessed, okay, by one of your members in the party, and you definitely want to be hasted by either yourself, okay, through you can haste yourself by using a scroll. Haste scrolls are very easy to come across in this game. All right, and like I said, I'll show you all how to pickpocket so you can become rich and never have to worry about money in the game or scrolls. Okay, but that's for next week. And those are the main buffs. You can get Warding Bonded if you want. You can get Bardic Inspiration if you want. But if you got Bloodlust, if you got Haste, and you got Bless on, then you can already get popping. So let's just go ahead and make sure our Spell Might is on here, our little passive. Let's just do another round of damage. All right, why not? Here we go. Let's get it. Boop, boop. Okay. Damn, she didn't die? Come on now. Can I not attack her? Path is interrupted. Suck my dick. There you go. Oh. Did I get her? I think I got her. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. Keep attacking. Y'all know what it is. Keep attacking. Bop, bop, bop. Alright. That action surge. You know what it is. Boop, boop, boop. Damn. Damn. Quicken spell. Boop, boop. Damn. Look at that. 40 damage. Jesus. We got one more. We got one more. And there it is, man. 7 targets dead. The new Eldritch Blast build. The critical stack one. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. That's gonna be it for me. Alright, y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all. And of course, if y'all like the content, please take that 5 seconds to click on stuff. Click on the like, click on the sub, you know, click on another video, goddamn. Okay, all of that actually helps. Don't ask me, ask the freaking ruthless YouTube analytics. They take everything into account. So the more clicks, the longer you guys watch the video, it all matters. Alright, so do all the stuff. I appreciate it. Okay. Again, the upload schedule is as follows. Monday and Friday are going to be build guides for this game for now. I do plan to play more games. Alright. I don't just play Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, shit, you can't just play one game your whole life, you know what I'm saying? So I do plan to play. I do play more games. Just for now, we'll be focusing on Baldur's Gate 3 because you can do so much with this game. You know what I mean? And I feel like a DLC is coming soon. I've been told the DLC is coming soon from reliable sources, so we'll see. But yeah, so Mondays and Fridays are build guides for Baldur's Gate 3, and then Wednesday is the educational one, where I'm gonna show y'all. I just finished Act 1, 2, and 3 best items on where to get them, the exact spots. Okay, very long videos, took very long to make. Now the next one's probably gonna be for next week. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna show y'all how to pickpocket. Okay, there are multiple ways on how to pickpocket. I think I found the best one that uses the least resources and is the least, risky, because if you've tried pickpocketing in this game, the NPCs aren't that stupid. You know, once you steal their shit, they notice and they might tell a guard, they might attack you, and it might actually fuck up your story. But I found a way that's safe, easy, but it does require a few spells. But luckily, all those spells can be found on items. So expect that for next Wednesday. But yeah, I wanted to make an updated Eldritch Blast guide because I knew Eldritch Blast was still strong. I just need to find a way to do it. And here it is. High charisma, high damage, good items, lit build. So yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. I appreciate it. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Alright? Fuck with y'all, man. Peace.